You know, Bishop, something really exciting that happened in the House of Deputies is that we recognized 3 new either dioceses or configurations of dioceses, which really speaks to the way that we're thinking about our relationships in the church. The first one was the Episcopal Church in Navajo Land, which is now officially a mission diocese of the Episcopal Church. I think they have 10 parishes and something like 600 or 700 members right now, which is, it's tiny and growing. Another one is there were 3 dioceses in Wisconsin who were all sort of working on their own with individual bishops, and now officially they are one diocese, the Diocese of Wisconsin, which is a return to where they started, which is exciting. And then also the Diocese of Eastern and Western Michigan came together, and they're calling themselves something that I kind of love, which is the Diocese of the Great Lakes. And so it was great to be able to vote in affirmation of those relationships, and then also to see those folks come together on stage with matching t-shirts and lots of celebration. So there were also something like 375 resolutions at convention, but which ones stick out most to you?
Yeah, well, a number of them, and some of them have to do with the events of our world in terms of politics and in terms of peace, and a lot of times when we vote on those things, some people say, well, those are meaningless, but it actually means a lot, because we have the Office of Government Relations down in Washington, D.C., and the Episcopal Public Policy Network, which does great work, but they only do the work that General Convention tells them to do. So they don't just make decisions about what policies they should address, what issues they should address. They're instructed by General Convention. So when we vote on those things, that really makes a big difference as to how we're showing up in the world.
Yeah.
So those are always important to me. And there were things about Gaza, there were things about the whole Palestinian situation. We reaffirmed a vote that we took 9 years ago to divest from all fossil fuel companies. And we actually haven't done all fossil fuel companies. And so now the commitment was to get that done over the next year. There were things about weapons systems that cause mass destruction. What's different about that than previous General Conventions is to look at the parts that go into those weapons. So sometimes it's computer companies that are giving parts, selling parts to weapons like that. So we've got to look at, should we divest from companies that are engaged in that kind of thing? Once again, we condemned gun violence. And so we have a resolution that calls for illegal, guns being illegal, that are guns that are assault weapons or bump stocks, that only police should be using that, only the military should be using that. And so we've called for, divesting from those kind of companies. And then in connection with the whole gun violence issue, which is an epidemic in the United States right now, every time we have General Convention, Bishops United Against Gun Violence have a march through the city. And sometimes we stop at different places where there's been gun violence. But ultimately, we come together in a large group to pray and to have speakers. And the speakers we had this year were young people. And the reason we did that is over the last couple of years, for the first time ever, the leading cause of death among children is guns. So it was, once again, a very prophetic witness that I believe that we had.